we said we have a declining Latino, maybe a stable Latino population, unlike most cities where it's always climbing, and then a declining African American population in San Francisco. And I think that's pretty alarming. We're losing our diversity here in the city.
And that's what our city is supposed to be, and to maintain that. How did you meet Chris Daley?
I met Chris working on the Tom Amiano runoff campaign when he was running against Willie Brown. We used my house as a home base to do outreach in the Excelsior district, to do outreach to voters, and so Chris came out to the neighborhood to help with that. So I met him in my living room.
And when did
99,
in 99?
11 years ago.
When did he decide he wanted to offer you a position as his aide?
He did that in like July of 2004, and I was like, do I want to work at City Hall? Chris Daley. I mean, I that's just thinking in my mind back then. Like Chris Daley, I love him on the issues, and but gosh, he's really he's out there sometimes, But I really love what he did around the PUC, the appointments for the PUC, and that to me was like said a lot about his character. That on the one hand, he kind of bent the rules a little bit, didn't do anything against the law. But he also,
it's a fine line.
But he, he put people who were very qualified in the PUC commissioner positions that were not being considered by the mayor. And I think it said a real strong statement about who gets the juice in this city. And I thought he put some really important people in the position. The people who the mayor was thinking, Willie Brown was thinking of, were basically it was political patronage positions. And so I really appreciate his stance on that. I mean, I'm not sure I would make that kind of decision, but and that's what Chris is really good about.
He gets it. He jumps.
But I really like the message behind it and what it said about, no, we want to have the best for our city government. We want to have the most qualified people to run our water system that brings water from 200 miles away and has all these environmental issues that are involved and engineering issues that are very complex. Let's make sure we have the most qualified people in there. I thought that was really impressive.
Definitely.
That Chris Daley, did that and brought Willie Brown all the way out from China in an emergency flight to change things around.
I bet that's the last time he ever did that.
He was never been mayor for the day since that.
I can imagine. I keep slipping down on the list of people to replace. What is something that you know about Chris from working with him that people don't understand about him or don't really know?
I think Chris has like a really big heart, and he takes things in and really understands with the plight of people who are really struggling, and he's just really a strong ally and support for people who are living on the margins. And I think people know that about him, but they don't really see the human side of that. Now Chris actually had he did all my campaign mail. It was one of the secrets of my campaign during the campaign, is he actually wrote a lot of it up, and he wrote a letter from my wife talking about our living in the district and what her struggles have been as a parent, and about my kids. And we changed like 2 words of this letter,
really,
because he understood it, and he had a real strong grasp of what our private lives have been like, and he was able to share that with people in District 11. It was pretty amazing. So I mean, there's a lot of things that Chris you don't really see about him, but I think 20 years from now, whether you like him or not, he's going to have a legendary status in the pantheon of political figures in San Francisco.
Certainly shakes it up quite a bit.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I do. So at what point did you say, hey, I want to be supervisor? Or did you? Or did somebody kick you kicking and screaming into the position?
It was always like something I thought I could do. And I just looked at all the different people who could have run in District 11, and I saw that my experience was pretty well-rounded in terms of community work, labor work, city hall work, and then also feel like my values are pretty rooted in the community, and I saw that would be a really fun job based on my experience in Chris Daley's office. That I made the decision. Now my wife was actually. I said, I think I might want to do that someday, and she was like, over my dead body.
Oh no!
So I it was
so
like,
you did
don't
it
talk
anyway.
About it. No, you don't talk about it. Don't bring it up. Okay, she doesn't want me to do it.
Why?
So
Why didn't
I won't be
she want
supervised.
you?
I'll do something else.
Why didn't she want you?
it's a lot of work, and it's really hard, and we're pretty family oriented, and we lose a lot, focus on our kids and that, and those are things you have to sacrifice and give up. But I think she started going behind my back. She was talking to people about, I just stopped talking about it, but it was talking to friends and asking them what they thought about it. And everyone thought that it would be a really good thing if I was supervisor in District 11. People that we trusted and knew who were activists. And then on my birthday in 2007, she said, if you want, you can run for supervisor.
That's
I wasn't
pretty
asking.
sweet. That's pretty sweet. And she is a educator. She is a teacher.
She's a teacher, yeah. She works at Monroe Elementary School, which is in Excelsior, which is in District 11. And she's also an education activist, so she's with the labor union, UESF, Teachers Union, and she also runs an organization called Teachers for Social Justice.
What is that about?
It's a organization about professional development for teachers to really learn how they can be educators and think about social justice and how they can use their role as a teacher to help illuminate the struggles that young people have with their communities, with their schools, and help them to think critically about change and creating change in their communities. And also for teachers to really understand how they can be part of the system that keeps young people down, and how they can kind of unlearn the things they learned in school that prevent really social justice oriented education, so they can have a more liberating educational approach in their classroom.
That's wonderful. Yeah, my daughters have been going to very great schools. Rooftop was one of them. That's a wonderful school, and really taught them to think on their own and really look at things from all different sides, which I'm very happy with the city. You represent District 11. I looked at the map. It's very confusing. What neighborhoods does District 11 cover?
If you look at McLaren Park is the border on the west, and anything south of 280. So it's the Excelsior, Mission Terrace neighborhood, Crocker Amazon neighborhood to the south, anything close to Daly City, and the Ocean View Merced Heights Ingleside neighborhood, otherwise known as the OMI, which is south of Ocean Avenue.
Okay.
And it's pretty it's pretty working class, middle class, pretty diverse, kind of a growing Chinese population, little declining African American population, a lot of Latinos, a lot of white families. It's a declining Irish and Italian community that's still, you see remnants there. Really limited commercial development. Our businesses are pretty struggling in District 11. It seems like the infrastructure was worked in the 50s, but now we're in the 50 years later, and things aren't, our transportation system's not very good. We don't have a lot of, nonprofit organizations. It's really hard to get around. We have one of the most, vital BART and transportation systems in all of the city at Balboa Park Station, but it's really difficult to maneuver around there. And I always say, unless you have somewhere to go, you should just stay away from the BART. But you have to go through. You have to actually use the BART.
Yeah, I know the BART's very handy. Once you get there, definitely.
So we just introduced legislation that will set up vision and guidelines for development at Balboa Park and around City College and around Ocean Avenue. It's going to have a major impact over the years in developing transit villages, developing transit-oriented housing and commercial development. It's really exciting what's going to happen there. And we're trying to get economic stimulus money to make it all happen as well.
And how in that area, crime in that area, how is that doing in that area now?
There's a lot of little things that go on. People leaving Muni and BART, getting mugged. Little kind of elderly people get preyed upon. Youth on youth violence is strong around after school hours. But nothing like last year. I mean, the OMI's gotten safer, but last year we had some real lurid homicides that went on, and I'm glad to see it's kind of settled down. But I want to figure out how we can build community members to work together across political differences to come up with a plan, how we can find more services, how we can make sure the police are doing really appropriate community policing, how we can make sure that our public safety departments like the Juvenile Probation Department, Adult Probation, have ground level services, so people who are in the system are getting case managed and cared for, and I want to look at how we can really implement some real strong measures. And it's going to be hard because the budget's so bad in San
Wow,
Francisco.
you got a tough job there. You have a lot going on. Maybe
Yeah.
your wife was right. It's like,
Well,
wait a minute.
she was right, but we're both in denial about it. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Very good. Well, you have a strong family support and wonderful ideas for the community because it all starts with the kids. Get the kids excited about their city and get them motivated to do something to better it rather than harm it. And you just go with it, I think. And as long as you can build community, which is your specialty, then District 11 is very lucky to have you. Very good. Well, you like your job so far at the board?
So far, so good.
Okay.
It's a tough job, but I'm having fun. It's a really great job.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. And we've actually voted John the Latino George Clooney of Access SF. So, you got that going for
Jorge
you.
Clooney.
Jorge Clooney. Well, it's been a pleasure, John
Thank you,
Avalos.
having
Thank
me.
you very much, Supervisor Avalos, for being on the show tonight. This is SF Live. I'm Christina Marie Flores.